75 not out on MNL and cricket.com's weekly podcast comes to you again. And today we have a riveting episode with me, Apni Sheikh, dressed in the yellow of Al Nasser, not Chennai Super Kings. But we have a Chennai Super Kings fan and expert and our resident Nostradamus in Nikhil Popa. Nikhil, how are you feeling today?
All good. Mad couple of games on the weekend, and something seemingly of no interest but of a lot of interest is already going on. So let's see how that works out.
We will be reacting live as much as we can in the first 10, 15 minutes, like we did last week in the MNL podcast where we were talking about Emma and RCB. Speaking of RCB, the man, the myth, the legend in Akshay Kumar Swamy, who's a pessimistic man. But look, it is what it is. Akshay, you must be buzzing, winning and greening, I'm supposing, on this weekend.
Yeah, definitely super pumped with that victory. Despite us not putting our best foot forward, to be able to pocket those 2 points, it means a lot. It's also a reflection of how good this side is, and with everyone sort of doing well. So yeah, all's well there.
Okay, super. There's plenty to talk about in this episode of Monday Night Live. Let me just tell you what the show flow is all about because, look, there is LSG CSK going on. We understand that Gaikwad actually will now be ruled out of IPL. I say that because they've got a Mumbai sensation, a wonder kid in Ayush Mhatre to replace him. He doesn't start today. Sheikh Rasheed does. We'll talk about CSK further, whether they're critical Super Kings, qualification scenarios, and whatnot. We'll also look ahead to the week because there's some mouth-watering fixtures. And we'll maybe talk about the small matter of how away wins are actually dominating the IPL, not just this year, but even from last year. So is it a case of home away for home for some teams? There is, of course, Akshay's quiz, and not to forget, there is also a 12th man section where we might get a few of y'all on video for the first time ever. So it's a power pack show. Get your dinner in and tell us how you're feeling on a Monday. We'll take comments, as many as you guys can give us. This man has already done us a world of good by liking it. Follow Priyanshu Dhawan and like this video. Right, let's start with LHC CSK because it's unfolding in front of our eyes right now as we speak. If you guys are listening to us on Spotify, bear with us because there is going to be some sort of reactions, I'm guessing. And Pant has already moved on 15 of 8. Are we going to see no ball wickets from Shardul Thakur? Are we going to see some more runs from Mitch Marsh? Purin's out. So there's plenty to love and plenty to load. So let's start with the CSK fan himself. MS Dhoni did work out for him on Friday night, Knicks, but I'm pretty sure tonight and the remaining games, he'll have something to say as captain.
Well, you'll hope so. It's weird that we've come to a stage where MS being captain doesn't make you smile and giggle and, "Arey, yes, MS is captain." Maybe we're not broadcasters for a reason there. But again, it is what it is rightly. But yeah, let's see. I think interesting changes already. Something that we spoke about in terms of controllables. You already see the value that Kamboj adds to the team. It was an absolute no-brainer to start with Anshul. Even from the first game for that matter, forget playing Mukesh ahead of him. So that's a good change. I expected Conway, I would not say to not be bad, but to start looking for the future. And if there is a problem down the order in terms of pace, then you picked somebody to play there. So I already feel it's still wrong to not play Sam, but okay, for now, let's keep Jamie as a bowling option in that middle overs. And Sheikh Rasheed gets a game. Finally, the noise has got to the team as well. Okay, play youngsters, play youngsters. I just hope his role is clear and they don't expect too much in terms of general public because he's not your 170, 180 target wala banda. His role is different. So be open to that as well. And then let's see how it goes, one game at a time. Savage, we've had the ritual done as well. Well done.
The ritual is out of the way. Even on the 75th episode, we still struggle with mute. Anyway, Sheikh Rasheed, I was just going to allude to that, Nick. The fact that he kind of gives me Ruturaj Gaikwad vibes, even though we've not seen him bat. The fact that I'm just drawing that solace out of the IPL 2020 season where Gaikwad was shoved in, got 3 back-to man of the match matches, and then the rest is history. Akshay, where do you stand on CSK right now? I mean, they're breathing new life into the equation today with Sheikh Rashid. They've dropped Ashwin and MS is back as captain. Now, do you think they can actually pull through? Because anything can happen. I mean, your team, my team knows it best from recovering from the jaws of defeat to coming back to the playoffs, even though we didn't beat RR. Do you think CSK can probably just I don't know, still be in the contention even though they're down in the doldrums right now?
Yeah, I mean, they themselves have done this a couple of times earlier, in IPL. So it's not impossible for sure. Just still 6 games down, so 8 more games left. And that way, in terms of controllables, I completely agree with Nikhil Bhai. The changes that were long due, they finally gone ahead with it. It should have been done last game itself. So that way, I'll probably just be a bit harsh and say game too late. But happy to see the changes being made. And all of them bang on. Like, these were the exact changes that I was personally, hoping for. The all-rounder in Sam Curran or Jamie Overton coming in, of course, to fill in the fourth overseas slot, and please bring in Sheikh Rasheed. There's been a lot of debate about is Sheikh Rasheed the right person. My sort of outlook towards it is they need to fill in the gap that Ruturaj Gaikwad has left vacant. Of course, no, you will never find a like-for-like replacement. Ruturaj is an established Indian batter. But the closest you would find someone to that mold is Sheikh Rasheed, someone who I personally enjoyed watching. He's one of those batters who's very watchable. So very happy that he's gotten the chance. Expecting him to bat at number 3. So given that, I hope, like Nikhil Bhai once again said, role clear ho wahan pe, and what is expected off of him is made, sort of is communicated properly to him. And apart from that, the other thing is Ashwin being dropped. That's a very surprising call, to be honest. I don't know what to make of that because I was expecting the change to happen probably at the cost of Conway and all of that. But yeah, that would affect their balance. So I can see where they're coming from because he's not really done well so far. But yeah, because kya apna, LSG had what, Purin, Miller, Pant, 3 left-handers, so they could have potentially, contemplated holding on to him for another game before, moving on from him. So that's a tad bit surprising and probably a tad bit early, but understandable nonetheless.
Interesting. As we speak, Jadeja has been given the ball, and matchups wise to Pant, maybe again playing against his ego. We'll see how that simmers. Just on that CSK chat, Nix. Now they got in the Ayush Mhatre replacement for Gaikwad, but obviously if Sheikh Rasheed does well or doesn't do well, regardless, I think CSK will stick with him. I'm guessing, and Mhatre won't get the nod. If that's cynical for me to say.
Nathan, I'm very keen to see that you could see both Rashid and Matre playing, and which is why I'm interested to see where Rashid bats today, because maybe Matre wants to be the guy, or Matre will be the guy. They'll bat in the top 3 because there is no space in that middle order now. Even more so once you've taken the call to play Jamie, which means Shivam, Vijay, MS, Jadeja, Jamie. That's a packed middle order. The only spot that's there is in the top 3. So very keen to see if they directly get him in, and it's fine. I think you have to take that punt, and hopefully this is the punt that works out for them in the long run.
Yeah, Ayush Mhatre, if you guys don't know, I just checked out his first class stats, and he has a Basra of 200, if that tickles your pickle. But he hasn't played any T20 cricket. Have we seen him in the any other leagues, Akshay? You're giggling away, but has he kind of made any ripples in the T20 circuits?
No, Rupert, I can't believe Basra. Yeah, it's the most bizarre start anyone can come up with. Again, no offense to anyone there. But yeah, Ayush Mhatre, of course, yeah, numbers mat dekha karo. Sheikh Rasheed, like a lot of our colleagues were mocking me, ki, why would you go to Sheikh Rasheed? Look at his numbers. Bhai, talent एक बात होता है लाइक आईपीएल पे कोई नंबर्स के बेसिस पे तो अभिनव मनोहर हैड अ क्रैकिंग महाराजा ट्रॉफी क्या हुआ उसका नहीं चला ना like numbers is not the be all and end all. You need to understand if there's potential and if it's being worth tapped into. Phil Salt came into the tournament in not exactly the greatest of form. He's done well. So you just need to focus on that, especially with youngsters, even more so because this kind of pressure brings out the best in some people, probably bogs you down. We don't know what's going to happen. So with someone like an Ayush Mhatre, we don't know. But I still think it's a tad bit early. I mean, it's probably a bit too early for him right now. Under 19 World Cup khela tha unhone. Then did do well. He's so far shown glimpses of being that attacking batter, not exactly the kind of player that would come to your mind when you think of CSK. So happy to see that they're also now probably trying to move away from their tried and tested philosophy. That way, aggressive opener who's not done too badly in that under 19 circuit. Uske alawa was a part of the Maharaja Premier League as well. Again, numbers ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है वहाँ पे, but ठीक है, numbers मैं ज़्यादा देख भी नहीं रहा. is an exciting talent, but definitely one to watch out for in the future. I'm not expecting him to light up IPL 2025.
Okay, let's take a couple of CSK comments from the chat. Good to see all you guys who join us for the watch alongs. Every live show we do. Chandan Ramaya saying, "Hey guys, thinking about CSK's downfall this season. They used to pick batsmen who were not in the greenest forms and hope they come good. Jinx, Robbie, etc. He has a part two of that. But in Hudda, Tripathi, and Vijay Shankar, they picked unproven commodities too much. Also, the downfall of Ash Jaddu and poor captaincy and attitude overall. Now, obviously, it's an amalgamation of all these problems hitting them at the same time. So, Nix, do you think they can course correct now that the IPL is technically still there's life and could be light at the end of the tunnel, dare I say? Do you think they can actually now look at these problems in the next couple of games and they have, I think, a break till 20th of April after this game? They can just reflect, go back to the drawing board and be like, guys, let's just treat every game as a final.
I think not as a final. I'll just say ke, take one game at a time and try to correct the controllables. Again, it's very ironic that a team like Chennai has done so many uncontrollables so horribly wrong that you have to get to one of them at every point of time, which is why you saw Anshul coming in the last game, Jamie coming in this game. So it cannot be haphazard. There is most likely a change if, say, Mhatre comes in and they are very keen because they wanted him to join immediately, but that wasn't the case. So I'm very keen to see if they are going down that route as well. So I think already Touchwood, a sitter hasn't been dropped yet. Tripathi has taken a good catch, so that's a good take. You have Anshul bowling three, Khalil bowling three, so no goof ups in the power play so far. Now, these things need not be said, but they have to be said, tells you why they've had such a time. Again, the point that Chandan made about picking unproven commodities, yeah, that is something they'll have to live with that. We took that risk 4 years before as well. It worked for us twice, it hasn't now. So there's a lesson to it that you have to find that balance. How many do you want of that ilk and how many youngsters do you want and where do you want? See, I don't, there's a lot of talk also about Fleming saying that, oh, sixes should be hit and not four. I think it is something to say and something to feel and something to do. So I just hope that they find small remedies for all these problems and let's see first today how they bat because so far I don't think the bowling was a concern. To me, it was the fielding. The bowling changes, yes. The fielding and the batting is not yet turned up at all. So let's see how they will turn up with the bat.
Okay, Tushar Singh having his say about CSK, saying Bud Afshan hasn't been an off spinner for so long. He's a can ball bowler. It depends also the situations he's bowling, the batters he's bowling to, and the usage of that. Maybe you spot that more often than not. Dilip being a devil's advocate, saying CSK hate going amazing this season. Look, get your comments in. I know there's plenty of fans if you're from MI's quarters, RCB's quarters, and I think other fans also starting to teeter over to our channel. Dhruv Mitra, good evening to you. You go and say hello. Will OG CSK and MI, will they be back in form and having a chance to play off? We're debating that. Akshay, where were CSK in your predictions for the uninitiated? Did you have them in the top four? Were they in the middle order muddle?
No, they are. They were in my top four, but now, of course, based on current performances, recent form, and all, of course, they would have slipped. But my preseason prediction was them making the top four, and I still stand by it. The squad they had assembled. I genuinely felt that, and even now in hindsight, I'll have to say that this is one of the better squads assembled by CSK at an auction in a very long time. Usually, CSK haven't been one of those who come up with a great squad. They were always good with controlling the controllables, getting their in-game tactics right. So yeah.
Is that because you felt just because people like Jinx and Robbie and players like that ilk have kind of given this franchise so much of things that no one could really imagine, no other team could even possibly fathom? Do you think that's why we all thought at the auction that Hudda Tripathi will punch above their weight and they'll get out to 180, 190s and then they'll bowl really well?
That was definitely a big reason. There were also a couple of changes I did not personally see coming. I did not expect Gaikwad to be batting at 3 and Tripathi at the top. So that was in fact, the other way around for me when I had sort of, imagined their first 12. Apart from that, of course, like you said, I did expect the likes of, Vijay Shankar, importantly, to be used much better because I really think he is an above average pace hitter. He's got decent value to offer. But the fact that they've slotted him at number 5, number 6, It's again, it's one of those things that you don't expect CSK to do. The kind of errors that they have made so far this season, including bowling Ashwin in the power play repeatedly, or be it, selecting Mukesh Chaudhary over Anshul Kamboj game after game despite him not doing well. So yeah, मतलब ये सब नहीं था मेरे दिमाग में कि ये सब होगा. So given that, yeah, of course they've fallen down, but Orange, yeah, they've still got a competitive squad there.
Okay, let's take a few more questions and wrap the CSK chat up because we want to discuss how critical it's been to win away from home in the IPL and whether that's a trend picking on, whether the tables have turned like the thumbnail suggests of this episode 75. If you guys are jumping on, I know you guys might be listening later in the week. Please to hit like, and we just hope that this one really does well across all platforms. CSK at bottom two at this point. Yeah, I mean, I had them in my top four, and I generally think that they could be pushing to fifth and sixth. On a good day, who knows? They could actually turn it all around. Dhruv has one for Nikhil saying, Nikhilbhai, do you think in the IPL auction you guys should have gone for big power hitters like Maxi and Salt? And why? Did they get outbid at times in that auction where CSK actually went for the right personnel, but then they kind of pulled out, right?
Too many of them. If you think about it, there were far too many people in terms of losing bidders there. I think Nehal Vadera was an option there. They went at a few more people. Sorry, slightly
Livingston was
distorted because
another
I
name.
think
They were the losing bidders for.
there's a risk. Oh yeah, the risk. Sorry, Marsh gets out bold. Uh, just felt coming because post time out usually you see a wicket there. So I'm just getting that sheet now. They missed out on I think 6 to 7 very good names that are doing well for the other teams, and it just tells you how sometimes it's auction dynamics is a crazy thing. By if RCB get Venki Iyer, they cannot build this squad that they have right now. That it is just what it is. Some things you can't control it; they just happen, and this is something that I'm genuinely hoping that they'll correct next year. But something interesting that I thought just today, it is stupid that it came to me today that it is CSK is the only place where Rachin opens. I cannot think of any other opener who's played for Chennai who hasn't opened elsewhere. If I go back to the people that they have tied at the top, Michael Hussey is the one guy that I feel never opened but played for them. Everybody else was an opener kind of stuff. Murli Vijay, McCallum, Dwayne Smith, everybody. Matthew Hayden. So Faf is the exception, but then Faf had played 4 5 years already in terms of top level, top tier cricket before opening. So I think Rachin in that order to me, I find it very surprising that he's the one guy who doesn't open anywhere else. He only comes to Chennai and opens there. So it tells me that they have banked too much on him, which is why you see him now as well. Okay, they are banking on him. Okay, nahi, we still trust you to come good. So I think in the next auction, if Mhatre doesn't take off, maybe they'll go to somebody like a Salt. And there are options like that. There's Tim Seifert, there is Finn Allen, there is Ben Duckett. Many options out there.
Yeah, look at CSK's fixtures while Nick says that. And like I alluded to, El Clasico next in a 6 days' time, and then Hyderabad at home. I think I'm doing fan camps for that, and then Punjab and RCB. So the next 3, 4 games, however they kind of go, whichever direction, let's see how MS can kind of just pull things back and give CSK fans a little bit of hope. I say that, and Jadeja has got the wicket of Marsh, but Badoni joined Pant over there. Let's see how much LHE eke out, and you guys can let me know your predictions as well. Random questions will be appreciated, but if you miss them, there's the 12th man segment later on in the podcast where we'll answer everything. Is winning toss a crucial factor? Bengaluru asking Chetan, also rain around. We'll talk about the RCB Punjab game, and winning the toss has been very, very crucial. The last 4 WPLs, we've lost all 4. Akshay told me the other day, and we've lost the 2 at home this season. Right, Samit K saying CSK needs to ball in their approach. All players they picked are not still people you would fancy having in a 230 plus run chase. And there was another comment, which is where was that?
So while you find that comment, I'll list you the names that Chennai missed out on. So of course the bid for KL are also till 11.75, something like that. They bid till 13 CSK, but still lost out on KL there. They went hard for Marcus Stoinis. They went hard for Maxwell as well till 4. Did not get him. You had Neil Vadera. They bid for Jitesh as well. Abhinav Manor also they bid on. Abhinav Manor hasn't done well, but Neil Vadera they bid on. They bid on Simarjit Nitish Rana as well. So some of these people have already taken off and done well for them. So
it's
again,
crazy.
You do somewhere, somewhere.
One more question from a CSK perspective from Dhruv. So Nikhil Bhai, if Dhoni returns as captain, should they still go with Rachin? Always going to back Dhoni. Feels unfair. He has done enough time to move forward.
Look with Rachin, मतलब captain तो ऋतुराज ही रहने वाला है भाई. I don't think Rachin is going to get captaincy.
Yeah.
Let him settle as a T20 batter first. And Dhoni is just a stopgap arrangement, which is अब
I'm
वो है
guessing
तो
he's
उसी को
referring
यूज करो.
to Rachin instead of Dhoni. I'm guessing.
Rachin
मतलब
instead
धोनी
of
को धोनी के पास ही नहीं जाना चाहिए था. They should have gone to Rachin. I'm
नहीं
guessing
नहीं,
that's
they
what.
should not have gone to Rachin. You cannot go to a guy who's not even settled as a player in the team and asking him to captain is too far Jai Mata Di for Earth. Let's put it that.
That is absolutely true. Okay, right. Let's move on and talk about a very important topic that we're trying to ask you all in chat. You guys can let us know straight away. That's the Monday Night Live question of the night. Are fortresses in the IPL becoming extinct? We've seen it with Chepauk. We've seen it with, of course, other teams. Mumbai have not had the Wankhede to be so fruitful for them in the last 2, 3 seasons. RCB, I don't even want to go there because their fortress is actually away from home more than anything else. I've seen that stat, not just this season, that RCB won all 4 on the trot, but every team that they played away in the last sort of legs, whether it's GT, LSG, PPKS, they won all away. So that's something to boat forward to. But we want to show you some digits and facts and figures. Now, bear with us. Look at this particular depiction. Home and away records for IPL teams since 2025. Now, you can derive what you want to derive from those numbers. You guys can pause this chat and then probably see it in depth later, discuss it with your friends, so on and so forth. This is a sample size since the last 2 years and 2023, that is. And Akshay, what startled you here in a depiction like this? We look at obviously teams like CSK, maybe RR to a certain degree had a fortress up in Jaipur. Um, right now, the trend is shifting massively towards the away teams. It looks like that.
Yeah, it sort of does. I feel it's not about home and away. I feel what's probably happening is teams, in some sense, are becoming a lot more cognizant of what to expect, and in some sense, it's that fresh mind that's helping them. I feel there isn't too much to look into it because historically, as well, barring Chennai and Rajasthan to some extent, even historically, no, there aren't too many other teams who were successful in making their home venue a fortress. So that's always been the case. It's not like भाई मतलब पहले ये होता था कि 8 के 8 टीम्स के होम वेन्यूज फोर्ट्रेसेस थे. अभी अचानक से वो ट्रेंड बदला है. It's just that now people are being more cognizant of it. Now cricket is reaching that stage where people are understanding the different variables involved in all of it. It's just because now the spotlight is on it, we are recognizing it more. I don't think it's a paradigm shift of some sort because I was looking at other numbers as well in terms of how home and away, home teams winning, how that trend has changed. It's not really changed a lot in the last 5, 6 years. Of course, you have to take into account the COVID year, so that anyways goes out of the window. So all in all, I still think it's kind of similar. And what we need to understand is for an away side, like for instance, RCB doing well, away is a blanket term that's used for a bunch of different venues. RCB winning away is not a pattern that can be looked into. If anything, it's the what it means is they have a side that's doing well across conditions, which is why then you don't need to worry too much about how you will do at home. दो ही गेम हुआ है दोनों गेम्स में थोड़ा especially in the second game I genuinely think the toss ended up playing a bit of a bigger role because of the rain that happened and all of it. Of course, they've not helped themselves with some controllables, but all in all, I still think at the end of the day, it is down to, in that game, tum kya karte. I don't think conditions as such are, home and away conditions are playing that big a role.
I don't know what it is about the Chinnaswamy because it's a beautiful venue to play cricket, watch cricket, understand cricket in many ways of life. And RCB, the home team, has just generally not yielded results. It feels like anyone can come and pickpocket them in terms of the 2 points. Dhruv Mitra saying, as an RCB fan, I feel RCB must win their home games to reach the finals and stay in the top two. Santosh Shurba saying, RCB's last away game against all other teams were victory except against DC at the Kotla. I remember that. Phil Salt took Siraj to shreds, I think. Once RCB got a hang of what sort of pitch they want to have on offer last year, they did pretty well. They don't seem to know what they want now. And again, the question is what Nick's asked and Greg's asking right now is BCCI making the pitches instead of team management. CSK Rahane have been complaining of curators doing their own thing. Now, Is this a big factor? And I'm pretty sure it is. We don't want to see all the pitches be the same. So is it almost no home advantage, Knicks, in IPL right now?
Yeah, there isn't clearly. Apparently, even Dinesh Karthik was like, "Yeah, we were asked for good pitches, but let's see how that goes about." So it tells you if, and these are not again, it's not about big small. These are the teams that have relied heavily on, and again, every team relies heavily on the hometown, but you feel there's a definite pattern to the way these few teams play at their home ground. And to me, the number that I've seen, both Chennai is changing and Chinnaswamy is changing. Chennai is changing in terms of the pace it offers, the bounce it offers, and the lesser degree of spin. Chinnaswamy is offering you a bit more movement, which we've seen in every game. We've seen that even in WPL, where Renuka is moving it hips, Megan Shoot comes there and bowls, gets the ball. Present Cup has done that as well. So uh, it's weird how things are changing and teams are just not able to come to terms, and which is why I feel toss plays a massive factor. You look at both the home games that RCB played. If you are bowling first, it is a completely different battle. And now you'd say, but that is the case for everybody. That's the case for even KKR against Mumbai or KKR against Chennai for that matter. The one game where Chennai got the pitch that they wanted, they ended up batting first. And they would have wanted to bat first because they felt, okay, this will play like the previous one, but it did not. So I think no team is also reading pitches well, and that is going to be there to stay. It's only about accepting that this is what it is and then just hoping you execute better.
Yeah, it's a fascinating chat. This, let me know. I think I'm pulling out all the comments as we speak, and appreciate Chandan Ramaya, Mohammad Aran, Dhruv Mitra, Dilip, all of you are making some really good comments in the chat. Keep your comments come through and like this particular video, guys. Akshay, my question to you is: when you cast your mind back in IPL and the history, you look at Kolkata and how it dominated in Gambhir's days with those spinners. They got turning tracks. You look at Kotla, the last 3, 4 seasons has been an anomaly. You generally feel like it's always been a 160, 170 wicket. You look at Chennai for that matter, and how Chepauk had that little pinch of clist in terms of just holding fort at Chepauk. I mean, how do you think it's changed? Is it all coming down to neutral pitches, or do you think teams are just well equipped right now, no matter what conditions, we're just going to get you?
That's for sure. Teams have now started building squads that are weatherproof. They're not just focusing on home games. Something even Mobobat alluded to, in yesterday's post-match presser. No teams won the tournament just by winning home games. At the end of the day, you need a side that can compete across conditions, and they have to do that, irrespective. So that's point number one. And secondly, with the conditions, I do agree with Nikhil Bhai. I think teams in general have struggled to read. Like, sure, you might not get the surface that you want, but it's not like, bhai, matlab, दोनों teams same time surface देख रहे हैं. Like, because both teams are struggling to read the surface, what's happening is the team that gets luckier in terms of batting first or bowling first. It's not even like the team that wins the toss is lucky. The team that wins the toss and takes the correct call, ठीक है, तो फिर ठीक है. But कितनी बार हुआ है, like RCB CSK, Stephen Fleming himself alluded to it at the end of the day. They got the conditions wrong. They read the conditions wrong, which is why toss जीतने के बाद भी they ended up making the wrong call. Even yesterday, Sanju sort of spoke about it. Winning the toss would have made a difference because second innings, apparently the surface did ease out. I mean, to what extent that is always going to be, up for debate. But at the end of the day, conditions do play a role there. And toss alone does not guarantee. So there is that element of luck because teams haven't been able to read the conditions well. Once teams start doing that, they will be able to adapt better. जब तक, like for instance, RCB, I would still probably put my head out there and say RCB were probably a bit hard done by Salt's knock against Delhi. They really thought कि भाई ये तो 200-220 का innings है. Apparently Salt came back and told the rest. But तब तक तो Padikkal जा चुका था. तब तक Patidar was in. They still weren't able to get a hang of the surface. And then in the second innings, the way it sort of panned out. So there's always going to be that. I hope teams get better at it. What is the reason? There's no reason, yaar. Matlab, why are they not reading the pitch well? They're not reading it well. I mean, we aren't privy to those conversations. How are they looking at the surface? What are the parameters they are considering? Nahi pata hai. We can only at best speculate, and there's no point doing that either.
Why can't I just suggest something and then close this chat with regards to how I feel it should be going forward, even though the BCCI might have a different take? Just let the franchisees dictate the nature of the surface. Why can't that be the call, right? Because you're getting home advantage then, and you're testing the opposition. You want RCB to come to Chepo, prepare a spin pitch, but also be ready to have your guys play that skill and that kind of cricket. So, Nick's you first here, and then I'll go back to Akshay. Should the franchisees have their own say in making pitches in the IPL?
I don't know why they shouldn't be. Uh, it's not just about the money factor. I mean, you're putting a lot of effort into picking a team for a venue, and if you are going to not be able to read those conditions or have a clear idea that this is what is going to be your case, because cricket, it is a very condition dependent sport. You look at that game between uh, Delhi and Mumbai. The ball changes, suddenly the ball stops on Stubbs, suddenly the ball stops on KL Rahul, and then they cannot do much in terms of getting it out of the park. So it plays a massive part. So privatization might be the way to go. I'm not saying ask them to build their own stadiums, but I think itna collaboration can be there that you say that okay, you know the curators, everybody's there. I mean, there is no way Gujarat is able to pick and choose. Okay, this game no, let's play on black surface. This game let's play on red surface. So some teams are doing it, so then allow everybody to do it, and just make it a common blanket to that franchise can have a say. But it cannot be like a again. I accept. Don't go for 300 and 100 kind of surface. Okay, bhai. No, no. If you're coming to Chennai, you'll get 100 all out. Vaisa, don't go that way. But have a balance and then go ahead.
Yeah, there's a fine line between that, right, Akshay? The fact that if we give the power to the franchisees to make their own deck, they could just absolutely make it a dust bowl to a road. So where do you draw the line? Who comes in to kind of just oversee that? And then that's where the BCCI chief curator, I'm guessing, gets the job, right? Where he's just like, okay, fine, listen, you guys are too crazy in terms of spin. You guys are too crazy in terms of bounce. You guys are too crazy in terms of leaving more grass on the surface. So it's my job to just oversee that. Is that why the BCCI made it a mandate now going forward that the pitches are going to remain the same and the same surface and all of that stuff across venues?
See, this sort of giving them the benefit of doubt. Doubt. If I sort of look at it from where they were coming from, maybe the idea was, agar pitches standardized kar denge, then it will come down to the better side, like who's got the better skills. It'll simply be that. Maybe that was their thinking. We don't want conditions to play a role. Maybe that was the idea behind this sort of this process. But what I think it sort of does a disservice to is the sport of cricket, because cricket is arguably the only sport that is so conditions dependent. That is the beauty of it, and that's what makes it that much more challenging. Like, take a sport like tennis, which is probably the closest you might get to something like that. The reason why the French Open is different from the Wimbledon, from the Australian Open, is because of the conditions, the surfaces. They are different. You need to acclimatize, which is why players who are able to do well across surfaces are considered to be goats. And similarly, in cricket, you would want to see teams, being challenged across conditions. If anything, I am someone who would double down on what Avnish said. I would want Chennai to prepare a dust bowl if that's what suits their, team. I would want RCB or someone like the Gujarat Titans, for instance, go hard. Bhai, matlab, bana do usko. Dunedin bana do usko. Auckland bana do. Chodo grass. Because that's the kind of pace attack they've gone for. Make it hard for the away teams. Because everyone wants to build fortresses, and I think at the end of the day, it will, in the long term, not immediate future. Of course, in the short term, there'll be a lot of pain. अरे ये क्या हो रहा है, अरे वो क्या हो रहा है, अरे ये इतना हो गया, अरे वो 80-90 पे all out हो गए, thinking the surface is flat. वो होगा, but over time, teams will also realize, they will also think, they will also come up with better strategies, they'll also come up with better tactics, better players. It'll, if anything, in the long term, help recruitment. Then teams will start focusing on ठीक है हमें घर पे अच्छा खेलना है, लेकिन like for instance, when you do this, Chennai now will have to be cognizant of the fact ठीक है यार घर पे हम 10 गोल बना लेंगे, but what if you have to go to Ahmedabad? What if I have to go to Bangalore? I can't simply go and take the same 11 and play there. So naturally, they'll also recruit better. They'll be smarter with that. If anything, it'll improve the quality of the team. So I really think there's a lot of merit in it, and I'm yet to see the downsides. To be honest, I don't see a lot of downsides. So I want to know what the downsides are, and then probably take it from there and see what the middle ground is.
Yeah, that way the broadcasters also don't have to really worry about selling the narratives because we all know as cricket fans, oh, today the game is at Ekana. Expect it to be a 130, 140 game. Expect the game to be a rip roarer for high scoring venue when it's the Wankhede or whatever it is, right? Because that's literally how it translates in the football world as a fan. Because I know if, say, United are playing Stoke away compared to Everton away or Liverpool at home, it's different. And cricket, even more, is condition specific. Growing up, why did we like waking up in the morning to watch cricket in New Zealand? Because we wanted to see how our batters would cope with bounce. Similarly, how they would do in South Africa or England with the moving ball. So it's just condition specific, and the IPL is anyway the best league in the world. Just add this to it. Greg K saying BCCI should make these rules about pitches before the auction, not after. Can't introduce these random rules 1 week before the IPL starts. It's a fair point. Cricket Info saying, I think Akshay is being too extreme. Both are not possible, bro. Either a dust bowl or not a Perth type pitch. He's saying the spectrum is so large, you can choose where you want to kind of have your team play on which surface depending on the squad. But going back to Greg's points, he's saying make the rules about the pitches before the auction so it's fair playing for everyone. He goes on to add saying CSK won IPL titles by having 70% success at home. RCB are not fighting for titles because they don't have a home advantage. Now, Akshay, that's the point you were mentioning. If RCB are doing well like they're doing now, they're playing across conditions, so they have better squad, better skilled players. But then what is it? Then it can't just come down to the Chinnaswamy curse, right? Because this is the same team who's played in just this one venue. It's not like other teams who've always had one home venue or more. RCB have always had Chinnaswamy as their one home venue. So Mo Bobat, Phil Salt, Andy Flower, they can be in the pool sipping mojitos discussing how do we win at home, guys. But then it comes down to just reading conditions. Surely it comes down to reading conditions. And I'm pretty sure if the opposition is doing that better every single time with Chinnaswamy, or at least 70, 90% of the time, that's something to think about.
A couple of things to add over here. Pehli baat to see 2008 to 2019. That era, there's no point talking about RCB tactics. They were shambolic. They weren't even focusing on it. RCB under Vijay Mallya was not exactly like they were an entertainment company first, and then a cricket team. And then later on, even from 2015 to 19, they were focusing on the business side of things, on the commercial side of things, more than the cricket side of things. It's only after Mike Hesson came in did we start seeing a shift where there was focus on building, smart, better teams. There was focus on, consistency. There was focus on, sort of ensuring every player is being looked after and all of that. So if I would probably look at it from the post 2020 season, and उसमें भी पहले 3 साल तो घर के बाहर ही निकल गया 2021 and 22. So post 23, which leaves us with a very small sample size, what I think is, firstly, historically, and this is something I do believe earlier on, there was RCB were also a bit unlucky with the tosses bit. I like numbers clearly suggest that they have been one of the unluckiest teams, and especially at the Chinnaswamy, so this is fairly evident because it's only the first 6 overs where bowlers have something. After that, across the next 34 overs, it is batters who can have a seat. At least, till the last year, I would say. This year, maybe Mo Bobat and Andy Flower have realized that, which is why the first couple of games that we've seen so far haven't been extremely high-scoring encounters. If anything, across the 11 venues that we've seen cricket played so far in the IPL, Chinnaswamy has the second lowest run rate, and that is only after Chepauk. Which is, मतलब Chepauk अभी CSK has played so slow, तो we don't know Chepauk का surface कितना role play किया, चेन्नई की खुद की बैटिंग में कितना बड़ा role play किया वहाँ पे. But saying that Chinnaswamy has the second lowest run rate amongst all venues is saying something. So clearly they are trying to address that issue, but yeah, it'll take a bit of time. This is still a new side. We're coming in fresh after the mega auction, so it'll take a bit of time. But hopefully they will be, there will be some light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, fair enough. There's some hilarious comments going about. Thank you for that, Crick Info. And Santosh Udupa saying, Badoni living a cat's life. Mohammad Haran saying, but I'm enjoying how fortresses are being breached this season, aren't you? Yeah, sure. Once in a while, that's the whole story. But it remains how strong you are at home. That's why RCB fans really love that win at Chepauk, because it came 17 years later, because we've never been able to go there and win. And similarly at the Wankhede. So again, there's certain grounds which don't do so well for teams. They're not happy hunting grounds, so to speak. But we'll move on from this topic right now and quickly recap week 3 of the IPL with you guys before we move on to different topics and best of the rest because there's some fascinating ones. Winners and losers. Let's really keep this short, guys, because when I cast my mind back to all the results this week, different winners since pretty much Tuesday night. So you had Punjab winning on Tuesday night, Wednesday night Gujarat winning, Thursday night Delhi winning, Friday night KKR winning, Saturday LSG winning, Saturday again Hyderabad winning, Sunday RCB winning, and then Mumbai winning. So everyone's won. So every fan has something to smile about. What caught your eye? Give me your hero and zero. First Nikhil, and then Akshay, and then I'll give you guys mine. Hero and zero from week 3.
Right, too many games to pick one hero for, yeah. Absolutely. If you have, please go ahead. I'll just give me a minute.
Okay, Akshay, do you want to go first?
Winners, I'll have to start with SRH that way. Firstly, in terms of how they came back, they had a long break last week before the game against Punjab, and from there to come back and perform, do as clinically as they did. Again, we've always one criticism that teams or people had of SRH was that they aren't a good chasing side. Batting first में pressure नहीं होता, वो अच्छे से run बना लेते हैं, इनसे chase करा, which is probably what Punjab also thought, which is why they won the toss and opted to bat first, which hasn't been the norm this season. So from there, SRH doing what they don't exactly like doing and to chase so clinically. Abhishek Sharma's knock, fantastic performance that. So that has to be right up there. Apart from that, who else? Bhai? Kiska naam? I would probably say LSGR. The fact that they've performed so well and exceeded all expectations, I'm very surprised. Genuinely surprised. I'll also say pleasantly at that, but yeah, well done, man. Well done.
Okay, I feel it's probably Karun Nair for me is a real winner because the IPL gives you second chances and you have to take them. You can be frazzled mentally, have lots of nervous energy. You're going up against Mumbai, asking rate of 11, and you produce an absolute brilliant knock. Fair enough, it went in vain, but I hope he gets another couple of chances. And then, if he does do well, even if he gives you 50s or 40s or 60s, it just makes you think, where was this man all these years ago? But look, I mean, it's been fantastic to see. So he's a winner from my end. Loser this week for me, Shreyas Iyer. We saw last year how he conceded the highest ever score in terms of the total 268 under his captaincy. I generally think he shouldn't have lost that game that he did, but let's see if he does get the double points over RCB. Again, tongue in cheek for me, you guys don't have to be um, kind of disagreeing with me all the time or agreeing with me all the time. But Nick's over to you. Who's your hero and zero from the week 3 gone by?
Yeah, firstly, I like how you said like Shreyas bowled 20 overs and he considered the highest chase there, but he cannot. Okay, that's fine. I think I was tied in between two people. I still couldn't get one clear winner. I enjoyed watching KL Rahul at Bangalore. Uh, I think it was something that was on my bucket list. I kept feeling this is the year, KL filled up plays in Bangalore, and it clearly meant a lot to him. It's clearly marked this area that this is my dash ground, and I know everything about it. So good on him. I'll remember that one over. It's ironic how the two people that I'm talking about, both of them hit the same bowler for plenty of runs. First is KL Rahul, and the other is Hardik Pandya. I have not seen Hardik Pandya bat like that the way he did against Josh Hazlewood in Mumbai last week. I think it's been a while since I saw Hardik come out like that. Now game 10 ball mein 40 kind of stuff. So I think those two are the winners, and losers I don't have to mention. It is very obvious who it is. So let's move on with this.
Okay, what about you, Akshay? Any other losers? You mentioned your losers. You only mentioned winners. Didn't mention any losers.
Yeah, I didn't mention any losers. I'm trying to think who would my losers be at.
What about you
God.
and your pessimism?
Nah, I'm comfortable with it. And I still stand by what I said yesterday. Like, you can ask Nikhil Bhai, by the way, what did you make of it? Nikhil Bhai, did you think yesterday was a 200 surface that RCB bowled well and restricted RR?
नहीं नहीं कोई chance नहीं भाई.
हाँ. थोड़ा
How much
It
was
was
it?
just Phil Salt. It was only, I
Uh,
mean, imagine in a game where nobody batted over 140 odd, Phil Salt batted at 196, bro. Madness.
पता
My
ही
po-
थोड़ा.
my point in the watch along was the fact that RCB literally had better skill in both departments. It was not just really Phil Salt. Phil Salt just
It's
exaggerated
अरे
that pitch was obviously better, but like the way that
See, I think
even
Phil
literally
Salt
Kohli measured himself was good.
I mean, Phil Salt allowed Kohli and the DDP to bat the way they want to for full. They could take their time because Phil Salt had, in the famous Twitter words, killed the game with his cameo. So, fair play to Phil Salt, I think. And that's why you want team people like him in the setup to try and close the game out. There are other openers who are getting out even before the first few overs. Forget others. And not even Indian. ये तो overseas की बात कर रहा हूँ.
Okay, before we look ahead to the next week of fixtures, which are cracking by itself, let's take a couple of comments because you guys also have let rip in terms of your winners and losers from week 3. KL is the official owner of RCB, smashed at them no matter what, which team he plays for, saying Chant. Chandran Ramaya saying, I would enjoy KL's knock against LSG more. Greg King saying, Nick being diplomatic. About what, mate? About what? Loser CSK winner LSG today as well. Do you reckon that? Cricket info, because we're doing this at that times this game. If it's Karan Nair without a doubt, it's Karan Nair without a doubt. We've never seen Bumrah hit left, right, and centre since AB de Villiers. And Shikhar Dhawan. Apparently, Shikhar Dhawan has the most runs against Bumrah in a single game of 8 balls or 9 balls or something like that. DC has to be the loser, man, saying Suchant. And Chandan Ramya saying, if you're an RCB fan and you don't feel pessimistic, how are you an RCB fan? A great without Akshay. But dude, every season gives you new hope, a new life. So come on, mate. I've understood there are two types of RCB fans, one ultra pessimistic like Akshay and one over optimistic like Avnish. It's not over optimistic by any sense of the imagination, optimistic, not even capitalized. Biggest losers this week, say Mohammad Aran, is the week every week are bowlers. I mean, yeah, the bowlers absolutely taking some tonks. Speaking of bowlers,
Sorry,
we'll give
sorry,
you
I
an
don't agree at all. You are not having anybody chase 200 or a higher score. How are bowlers your users? But they are getting the ball to change, and you are getting grip and turn
and
at Firoz Shah
rightfully
Kocha
मतलब अच्छी
bhai.
बात है तो मिल रहा है. Yeah,
और मिलना
so there's
चाहिए. So they are not losers. It is keeping the bowlers in the game.
yeah.
only one score of 200 plus in the first 30 matches being chased.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tells you all you need to know. A good question. If LHE wins today, they're a proper 1 week and opposite for CSK. Again, there's so much time in this match, we don't want to speculate. But speaking of LSG, there is some good news for their fans because apparently Mayank Yadav could play that game on Saturday. He's about 95% fit according to Justin Langer. So let's see how he goes about it. And he'll probably replace Akash by the looks of things. Right, let's quickly throw our mind ahead towards week 4 and look ahead to those set of games. But before that, the points table and how it stands right now, Monday, April 14th, 8:55 p.m. Just so you guys are knowing and listening later, it stands like this. There's a little bit of traffic in the middle, but it was a good weekend from an RCB perspective. DC losing, so then they've now been able to kind of catch up with them, even though DC have a game in hand. Punjab, of course, got to be playing their game against RCB on Friday and then Sunday. MI, with their 2 points against Delhi, have moved up to 4. But SRH, even though they beat those guys at home on the weekend, they are still 4 points out of 6. Only time will tell how Tala and his boys can get off the 10th mark, but we can speculate ahead. Which game are you guys looking forward to the most this week? There's some absolute belters. I'll read out the games and you guys can tell me yes or no. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, is Punjab KKR. So it's pretty much the Veer Zara derby. If you guys know, you know. Then there's DC versus RR at Delhi. So the action continues at Kotla for Akshay Patel. Then MI SRH will be a belter because MI will, of course, get a little bit of momentum after that win against Delhi. Hyderabad are going into that game with a win as well. And I'm doing fan cams if that matters. And then Friday, RCB versus Punjab. That's supposed to be a belter. We're going to be doing a watch along for that and fan cams. So it's a double gift for y'all. And then Saturday, the 2 games, GTDC and not to forget RR LSG. I think we're doing the RR LSG watch along, and Sunday we're doing the entire day watch along because there's just some bonanza games. So, right, which is your pick of the lot, Akshay? So many games. Is it Wednesday night? DCRR? Is it Thursday? MISRH? Could it be 2:30 playing 2:40? Or again, are you again pandering towards RCB's double header with Punjab this weekend?
Yeah, two games that I'm very excited about. Like technically both the RCB games to begin with, yeah, only because it's not often that we see two teams play, the fixture and the reverse fixture over the span of 2 days so quickly, which means it's sort of it's almost like it's a truly skillful sort of encounter that's going to happen between the two sides. So I'm excited to see how that pans out. But
Has that ever
RCB
happened before? Sorry, has that ever happened before where two teams have played the fixture on Friday and then on Sunday?
Friday, Sunday ka pata nahi. I remember Chennai and Pune in 2011 played back-to-back games, and that was also a day apart. I don't know if it was 1 or 2 days, but I know it happened quickly because I remember thinking, "क्या अभी तो परसों युवा फिर से खेला." I don't know if it was 1 day or 2 day, but apart from that, I have no recollection of anything like that happening. And so RCB SRH, something similar happened. That's true. We lost the first game and second game. We lost the super over, and the second game Kohli chased it down and revenge is sweet. That's well pointed out. I don't know again if it was 1 day or 2 days, but yeah, I know it was back to back. And also coming to just the one game that I'll focus on, RCB Punjab, the first game, because it's at home. I hope RCB are able to sort of just bury those goals, because I don't think there's so much to look into. It's मतलब ये home side अच्छा नहीं, home पे अच्छा नहीं करा. I feel a lot has been made of it, so I hope they are able to just bury the hatchet there and win. The other game that I'm looking forward to would be DCRR. RR are coming on the back of two losses. Delhi have lost their first game, a game that they should have won. I want to see if they react to this, or will they be smart and realize कि boss ठीक है यार, it was one of those games that we couldn't do much about. There's no reason why we have to change our personnel or anything. So I'm interested in seeing how that pans out. So yeah, these are the two games I'm looking forward to.
Nix, what about you? I mean, I'm pretty sure the El Clasico later on in the week will excite you for sure. But in the midst of that, there's some really good games, especially the North Indian Derby, DC versus RR comes to mind, or even MISRH, which I'm going to in the Wankhede, promises to be a belter. So, because that game, I think, is significant in the bottom of the table, who do you think starts favorites there? Because it could be anything.
Well, after having seen a side have three runouts with 15 needed of nine, I don't know if this is the year where we should be predicting anything in terms of who start favorites. But it's interesting. I think Bumrah is hurt, which is very clear. Hurt in terms of दिल पे लगी काफी. The 26 of 9 balls, something like that. That current hit of him. So he'll be eager to come back. And Mumbai SRH has always been very high intense in terms of either massive scores or 118 and 90 all out kind of games. So I think that is the one fixture I'm looking forward to. Obviously, there is that the derby between Bangalore and Punjab, because I think with no Loki now, who's injured, I think it really, I wouldn't say it puts the cat among the pigeons, but I'm very keen to see how they respond to, because Punjab so far have been carried very well by some of the key players doing consistently well, and those are not overseas guys. Dhoni's hit Sami for 4 sixes, but you can make what you want of that. But I think there's still that big impact yet to come from Jansen, from Maxwell, from Stoinis. Now, if they go to Omarza, if they go to somebody else, I don't know. So I think that is the one reason why I want to look at that matchup. And yeah, so those three games should be fun.
And one more thing to add, Punjab played 3 games this week, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. So this actually is a very big week for them. And it's one of those weeks where I feel, given this Lockie Ferguson injury, I do agree with Nikhil, but it's a huge blow to them. He's not even arguably, he has been their best bowler by a mile. Rasheed was yet to, sort of do well so far, especially at the death. The guy he's got the most expensive, he's been the most expensive at the death amongst all bowlers this season. So ऐसा 5 ओवर में 80-70 रन दिया उन्होंने कुछ. So again, so they will want him to do well, and middle overs में अभी कौन करेगा, because they've clearly not backed Chahal or trusted Chahal as much as they would have liked to. And on top of that, Chahal भी जब भी थोड़ा बहुत overs मिला, he's hardly done well. Average is 111 if I'm not wrong. He's taken just the 1 wicket so far this season. So it's not going to be easy for them. So it could be one of those weeks where either they get into a good run, win all 3 games, or could potentially lose all 3 of those games. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing how it pans out for them.
Okay, my predictions are that RCB could get the points, not two, but four, and hopefully their first win of the season at home as well.
ये predict
And
भी
I
थोड़ी होता
generally
है, ये
think,
तो अभी पता है ना, predict नहीं
Speaks
हो सकता.
about speaks about
what do you
not being
mean?
over optimistic and then goes on to say कि 4 पॉइंट तो मिल ही जाएगा.
I'm cautious with my predictions, you know what I mean? I'm cautious
हाँ,
still.
सिर्फ 4 पॉइंट, देखो 2 मैच में सिर्फ 4 पॉइंट हम एक्सपेक्ट
हाँ,
कर रहे हैं.
ऐसा नहीं डेढ़ बोला, ऐसा नहीं कि
हाँ.
डेढ़ बोला कि ऐसा रहेगा कुछ.
Okay, 3 points. We'll get 3 points for sure because Friday apparently could be raining, which is a sad part. The weatherman tells me that, the schedule tells me that as well. We could get a 7 over game if we're lucky. Who knows? But nonetheless, some good games to look forward to. What else to watch this week? Plenty of things. Because if you look at it, there's Punjab KKR, like Akshay alluded to, first of their 3 games this week. And who knows what's going to happen. Even in the PSL, we put out some games there if you guys want to watch it. Apart from that, the usual grub that you get in cricket.com. Classics and a Tuesday goes out. Tomorrow, there's watch along, of course, not just once, twice, but thrice this weekend. But more importantly, on Sunday, they're doing an entire watch along. I say they, mean Akshay, essentially. Right. So let's move on really quickly because there's plenty to discuss, even in the best of the rest segment. And we can have that on for you guys right now. Right, let's start the best of the rest in a kind of somber note, but in a good note, because the ICC under Jay Shah's vision have now decided to kind of give a dedicated task force to this whole news simmering about the Afghan women's cricket team. And honestly, it's been a really tragic tale ever since the Taliban took over Afghanistan in 2021. They've just not been able to kind of do anything with their lives, which is just generally very sad. And now the ICC have decided to put things in place. So we wanted to kind of get that out and wish them luck on that path. There's nothing really to quarrel about here, so we can move on to some of the fun bits, which we are keeping in store for the PSL in just a bit. But let's talk about the county. If there's anything that you guys have seen, because I know last week Tom Banton scored, 371 Akshay for Somerset, which is incredible. And only time will tell if he plays against India in July or June. I'm not sure when the tests are. But what else has got your eye in the county? I know all IPL, we've been traveling, watch alongs, this and that. But from the stats, the POV, anything that you can tell us and the viewers listening to this podcast? Nothing at all. I've
Just,
thrown him
just
under the bus.
smiling. Yeah, just smiling.
He's
Ask me
like, I'm
about the
used to this.
World Cup qualifier. I'll tell you everything there is to be
Yeah.
known, including Thailand, including Scotland, सबके बारे में. तो वो हम बात करेंगे, मतलब पूछिए.
Well,
Okay, next, I
I'll
mean,
just finish
yeah,
count.
yeah, fair.
The only thing that is two things caught my eye. First is Crowley is not scoring runs. So please, whoever can pray that he gets a double hundred or triple hundred just before the series, because otherwise, the every law of average will eventually catch up in India too. There and who knows if he has the luck of Manas Labushan there. So that, and also in that very same game, Tom Banton game, there was an umpiring decision that I still don't know how it is given out, but no shot offered, but the bat was so far outside off stump. I don't know if it was even Chennai is not spinning so much, so I don't know whether it was Gaul that the umpire had in mind because he gave him out. But yeah, nothing much apart from that, sadly.
Yeah, really. I mean, Dom Sibley's back in amongst the runs. Kyle Abbott's still doing things with the ball. Simon Harmer's doing stuff with the ball as well. So just the
Routine.
usual candidates. It's a
Yeah.
routine show in the county world. PSL weekend review and memes then. There's plenty of things to discuss about the PSL. First off the field in a bit. On the field, we can tell you that Mohammad Rizwan's got 100, which boded well for some fans. PSL, though, it's a very strange tournament, this, because even the other day, I think one of the tosses were absolutely questioned by Shaheen Shah Afridi to the match referee and be like, are you sure that was heads? Many tails, bola tha, but aap palat diya, and all that kind of stuff. Imagine they're having a quarrel with the match ref at the toss, while IPL are bringing animals into the toss, which is literally robotic in nature, so on and so forth. So why don't we ask the producer to put out some memes and let's see what he's selected for us in regards to this PSL bit. We can take a look at it right now, unless this gets moved out. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so we can try moving this out, or should we just? Yeah, fair. So, this man, now there's no competition in PSL. Just look at the youngest player of the PSL, age 21. Age 21, you're telling me that's the youngest. They don't have a younger player than 21. And does this guy even look 21, Akshay?
Yeah, he looks 21. He looks like he is 21, or rather was 21 about, I would say, 21 years ago.
Okay,
Uh,
21 years ago. What's the next one we have? We saw Rocket Man giving the toss score in the PSL, and that was before GTA 6 even dropped PSL. Yeah, which is insane. Did you guys see this? Now, this guy's come on a jetpack or something to give the toss coin. I don't know if you've seen a video of it, Akshay, but it's absolutely hilarious. Nix, did you see this on your Twitter feed?
They only saw the highlights, too caught up with the matches to not see it live, unfortunately.
But it's mad. They're coming up with innovative ways for sure. This is how he entered the surface, apparently. And he looked like a bug man, like someone who just come there with a lot of pesticide, trying to spray all the bugs on the ground, but I can see it differently. The next one, then PSL versus IPL. Now, the IPL has a lot of great cars over the year. They've got the Tata Curve, I think, this time around, and the Punch EV as well. But look at what the PSL has. It has a bike, and it has a bike which is like an Shivajinagar Yamaha RX bike by the looks of it. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but you guys can. Moving on, PSL matches looking like private events. Absolutely poor crowds, which is also not good to see from a Pakistan POV, but this was the look of one of the games from the bird's eye view angle, and it is what it is. And even the ilk of cricketers are not the best cricketers are going out there, with all due respect. You wouldn't want to see few in the T20 version of things. RX100 is a goated bike, saying Greg K. But look, plenty of other things that you guys can check out on our written front as well with regards to some of the PSL memes. But the PSL really not doing itself a favor with shithousery as usual. Right, we've already kind of gone over the 1 hour mark in this MNL, and we want to move on further to just other things, and that includes a small quiz, which is always Akshay's Howzzaat. Right, Akshay's quiz. Now, what is it today, and are you going to bamboozle the people listening and watching us right now?
well, I've tried to keep it in such a way, or sort of word it in such a way that people do get it. But before that, we have, of course, a bit of formalities to finish. Last week's How's That? Let's have the question out first. Yeah, it was very simple. The previous day, of course, last Sunday's career best bowling performance from Mohammad Siraj now helped him join the unique list consisting of Amit Mishra, Chris Morris, and Lakshmipati Balaji. The question was, what is the connect? Nikhil bhai, any guesses for this? Amit Mishra, Chris Morris, Lakshmipati Balaji, and then Mohammad Siraj. That's a very unique list. Any chances you might want to venture a guess?
Neil,
I want
today Avnish can go first.
bowling the most dot balls and getting three furs or something like that. Some bizarre filter
Good to
you've
know.
applied.
Comment to pad raha hai.
What is it? What is it?
No, the answer is basically, you were close. The second bit that you said. So basically, these are the only four players in the history of the tournament to have picked up four firsts for three different sides. Mohammad Siraj has picked up a four for, of course, SRH, RCB, and GT. Similarly, Chris Morris, Lakshmipati Balaji, and Amit Mishra, the only three players in the history of the tournament who've taken four firsts in, for three sides. Of course, only one got it right this time around. It is Chandan Ramaya. Congratulations for getting it right, Chandan. Of course, yeah, there you go. So do get in touch with us on Twitter. Like we said, unfortunately, we moved away from vouchers. So what we're doing right now is we want to have you on board. So do DM us on Twitter, and we will we will get in touch with you, and we'll have you on board for next week's Howzzaat. And yeah, it'll be great to, not Howzzaat, next week's Spells, man. It'll be great to have a chat with you. There you go. Yep, it's definitely paid off, Chandan. So make sure you tune in next Monday, and we'd love to have you and chat with you. And hopefully by then, like Avnish hopes for or mentioned, we would have pocketed those 4 points against Punjab. I know Chandan's also an RCB fan, so we can also talk about that. So that was that from last week's How's That. Coming to this week's question, though, there we go. Among openers who scored at least 500 runs since the last auction cycle, which is IPL 2022, the following names are at the bottom of a certain list: Rohit Sharma, Sunil Narine, Prithvi Shaw, Riddhiman Saha, and Prabhsimran Singh. Very simple. All I want to know is what connects these 5 names who are at the bottom of a certain list. So, what is that list these guys are at the bottom of? So, once again, among openers who've scored at least 500 runs since IPL 2022, which is the last auction cycle, the following names are at the bottom of a certain list: Rohit Sharma, Sunil Narine, Prithvi Shaw, Riddhiman Saha, and Prabhsimran Singh. All I want you guys to tell me is what list are we talking about? Once again, please wait for the live stream to end. Do not enter your answers in the live chat. Wait for the live stream to end and key in your answers in the main comment section in order to be eligible to win this House Act. Thank you.
I think I know the answer to this.
Perfect. तो कृपया करके यहाँ पे मत बोलिए, प्राइवेट चैट में या स्ट्रीम के बाद बोलिए.
Is it that they all fall out of the top 30 batters
Gurkirat's
in
top
Gurkirat's
30.
list? Are they all
Nice.
washed as IPL openers?
Nice. Very nice.
Lowest
Achhi baat.
average, but high strike rates. I don't know. I'm just guessing now. We'll figure it out. The opposite of Basta, maybe it is. But again, Akshay's is a good one. Remember, we're kind of offering you guys a fantastic prize, if you guys consider it a prize, to come on us in terms of the MNL and give your opinions on this podcast, because we'd love to see you all come on and jump on this pod and have your say, because we've built a community over the years. Let's move on and end this particular show by, of course, taking some of the questions we've missed throughout this Monday evening with you guys back home in the 12th man segment. Right. Let's, of course, get a couple of questions coming our way. You guys can have your questions keyed in right now in case you've wanted to ask us something all evening. Darshan Senthil asking us, Avnish and Akshay, where would you rather draw the line in the sand about dropping Livingston? Now, this is what we were discussing exactly in the watch along, Darshan. And we wanted to simmer because we feel obviously Livingston can give us a lot of things that maybe other players can't. I know Rabari Sheffield waking the wing and there's Jacob Bethel, but let me ask Akshay right now in terms of what he feels about Livingston. For me, I think I'd still give him a long rope, no matter what. That long rope could be another 4 games. I don't know about this weekend, how they want to rest and recuperate players. So maybe you might see the strategy there in terms of just resting the player, actually not dropping him. And then if Bethel takes his chance or Ramari Sheffield takes his chance, then they'll be tricky. So you'll have to figure it out in terms of options. Again, Ramari Sheffield can give you stuff with the ball. If you're playing at a greenish tinge wicket, maybe you'd have him just to kind of add that little bit more bowling arsenal. But Jacob Bethel as well, I want him to be drip fed into it. But Livingston, I don't know. Like, he's the one who'll definitely go out because you can't drop the others. Hazelwood only in terms of a rest aspect. So Akshay, where do you stand on this?
Firstly, I'd still back him as long as RCB is winning. I would consider dropping him only when RCB aren't doing well. तो changes की बारी जब आएगी तब देखेंगे. Right now, I don't want to bring Jacob Bethel into the system because we don't know where is he at when it comes to the IPL. Only Andy Flower and Nobu Bhatt and DK would sort of know that or have answers to that. So I'm just going to assume right now that Bethel is probably not there to do well at the IPL. So give him some time. Let him just get used to the whole setting, what the crowds are like, what the stadiums are like, how to go about his business, how to handle pressure situations and all of that. And I know Livingston hasn't done too much so far, but I don't think we thankfully have needed him so far a lot. We probably needed him a couple of times. One time he came good. I know it was a lot of fortune favoring him, but nonetheless he scored that 50 against Gujarat and came good. The other game against Delhi, he did not. Next game, once again, both these games coincidentally were at home. So I'm expecting next game also he will be expected to play a role. Given the kind of surface Chinnaswamy has offered, you can expect wickets to be lost. You can expect Livingston to be brought into the game earlier. So when he is needed, how does he come good? वो थोड़ा और देखना बाकी 2 games is too small a sample size. I get that he's not been in the greatest of recent form, but फिर भी I will wait, for Livingston to come good. I'll still give him a fair few games, and unless RCB sort of get onto a losing streak of 3 or 4 games, I don't see any reason why Livingston needs to be dropped now. Like thoda consistency, thoda long look देना जरूरी है. It's important for Liam also to feel secure about his position. अगर drop कर दोगे, then again that if anything could probably sort of be counterintuitive because it might not even give Bethel a lot of confidence. Bethel को भी फिर लगेगा कि भाई इसको 3 ही गेम दिया उसके बाद इसको निकाल जाए तो मेरा भी वही हो सकता है तो I'll have to perform. So that will sort of add a lot of pressure on him unnecessarily. So I personally would want to give Livingston a long enough look before we sort of, choose a different player.
Okay, this is another RCB one, but we'll try to give it a next because it talks about a player and Phil Salt. Dilip asking why, one question, why would anyone let Salt go? I think the first person after Virat, RCB will be retaining him will be Salt. So the question is pretty much towards KKR, I'm guessing. Next, why do they kind of choose certain players to retain and not people like Shreyas, their title winning captain, Stark, their brilliant bowler who performed so well in that final for them, and then Salt, who was just brilliant for them at the top of the order?
I think Salt is a clear one where you feel it's not easy to replace. We spoke about it even during the auction and our subsequent videos that uh, these kind of things are at times thankless where you feel, oh, maybe a Quinton can still do that, or maybe a Gurubas can do it. But again, what Saul did yesterday on that Jaipur pitch, it is something that is special. And again, what you have to remember is Salt also wasn't their first choice. Somebody backed out, which is why Salt came in, and then he did the job that got them going. So it's very weird how things work out. I would have probably saved a few for Venki and gone for Salt. But again, it's a call that they had made already. Kyunki, of course, you couldn't have retained him, given that you had others to retain, but could have simply bought him back as well. But ठीक है. आवाज is he on mute? या मेरे को आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Guys, which match did you enjoy the most till now? Clicking for asking, keeping RCB bias aside, of course. I actually liked the one last night, DCMI. Again, ebbs and flows. Brilliant to see Karan Nair back. Akshay, what did you like in terms of the game of the tournament so far for you, apart from RCB games?
I mean, it's not even an RCB game. For me, number one has to be BCLSG. Number two would probably be MI RCB. But yeah, basically both the thrillers. बहुत मजा आया एंड कल का गेम अनफॉर्चुनेटली मैं पूरा एंड टू एंड देख नहीं पाया which is why I don't know if MIDC was just as close, but yeah, I'll have DC LSG number one and MI RCB number two.
Okay, fair. Final question comes from tonight's game rather. Sports fans saying, guys, what do you make of the punt of today? Is it in sync with the match situation or is he doing his best on the pitch? I mean, right now, as I look at the scorecard, and we haven't watched the game, obviously watching it on mute and just peering through as I speak to you, 63 of 48. Now, normally that's thrown daggers by fans at an innings like this, but I'm guessing the pitch is not all hunky-dory. So, Nix, let me come to you first. With the minimal viewing of this match, how do we kind of just assess Punt's knock?
I think it's too early to say. Maybe people outside who saw it more only match might be able to tell you. And I think we have a very good run out from MS at the bowlers end, which is good. Need that kind of stuff. But I think he could not get Noor away, but he got Patrana away for a few boundaries in that penalty over, and it can happen. I think let's wait on how this pitch behaves in the entirety. Again, we haven't had the benefit in terms of watching and speaking, so we don't know exactly how the pitch is behaved, how much it has stopped. But if 160 is par, they are probably there already. But if 160 is not par and 180 is the need, they still have 5 balls to get there. So we don't know. I think Noor, you can at least clearly say Noor bowled very well to give just 13 runs in 4 overs. उसके अलावा तो we don't know. We'll have to wait on that.
Yeah, let's see how it goes with LSG.
Yeah, Samad over Miller for me has to be a very bizarre call because I don't know why did they have to do that. What was the reason? Like, were they trying to shield Miller from spin, which itself is again a very bizarre move because he's one of the most improved players of spin in the last couple of seasons. So I just don't know what was the thinking there. Like, giving Miller just 5 balls makes no sense. So yeah.
Nonetheless, CSK are not going to be chasing over 180 tonight, so that could be something for their fans to be happy about. Cricket for saying finally you will see Rajat Patidar versus Shreyas Iyer, Akshay, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that will be on Friday and Sunday.
What?
Speaking of
So
Sunday,
what do they mean? Like, is there anything that I'm missing here?
like you said, I think in one of the watch-alongs that Patidar over Shreyas in the Indian team. No?
Oh, to be clear, I said I love watching Patidar over Shreyas, but fair. I remember. And punts, miseries are also being put to rest over here. Gets out there.
Yeah, he's gone. Dhoni takes his catch and 158 for 6. So Pant's gone for 63 or 49, but he's got his first 50 in an LSG jersey today. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I know it's been, of course, MNL's not at the best periods of time because ultimately it clashes with the IPL. You guys are massive IPL fans, and you guys will somehow watch this and consume this, I'm guessing, throughout the week. And if you guys have just joined us, apologies, but quickly drop a like in this video and have a great week ahead. There's plenty of things awaiting for y'all on cricket.com's YouTube channel and Instagram. If you guys already don't follow us, what are you waiting for? Go do that. Thank you, Nikhil, Akshay. I'll see you guys soon. Until the next time, I'm going to enjoy my next 2 days being off. Don't bother me, lads. I'll see you in office on Thursday. Cheers.